up, y'all? Welcome back to another video. In this video, we are doing another breakdown on another player. We are going to be talking about a signing that the Detroit Lions made in the offseason, Jayron Kearse. Let's get it started.
I mean, you just smack people and they go down.
I try to most of the time. Never try to take it too light, but you know, that's just how it goes.
So I decided to do these because we do the rookie one, so why not do them on free agents? Because really all we did for our free agent signings were say, hey, Lions signed this guy. I give you about a minute and a half to 2 minutes of how I felt, and then that was it. And that's kind of all we had. But I really never broke into these players, really dug into what they could mean for the Detroit Lions. As now, it's kind of going to slow down on players that we bring in. It's more, okay, who do we have now? And let's make what we have work. So I decided, let's talk about these players. And you guys said in the comments of last video, a couple of you did that you want to see it. So I was like, all right, let's make it happen. Let's test it out with Jayron Kearse. And I wanted to talk about Jayron Kearse for a while now because he's such an intriguing prospect for the Detroit Lions because he is 6'4", 215-pound safety from Minnesota. That on its own is intriguing because of a guy named Isaiah Simmons who came out of Clemson. Now all of a sudden, you know, the big safeties are really interesting, right? Jeremy Chin, he was interesting, 6'3", 220 something. Those kind of guys are really intriguing if you want to go after those kind of players. So after kind of seeing Isaiah Simmons get drafted number 8, it's kind of like, oh, that's kind of cool. Maybe we could use him in the same sort of way. Now he's not as big as Isaiah Simmons. He plays a little bit less linebacker, but with Minnesota, he did play in pretty much every position, and I actually have a breakdown of snaps that he had, so I'm going to go through those really quickly. Before we get into that, though, let's just give you a quick little overview. This is a strong safety that signed with the Detroit Lions from the Minnesota Vikings for a 1-year, $2.75 million deal. This is a player that, again, is coming out of Clemson, and yeah, that's kind of all we have now. He's been kind of a main backup safety for Minnesota, and he's also been a special teams player. He was drafted in the 7th round at pick number 244, so let's talk about some of the positions that he can play. He played 16 snaps at defensive line, 52 snaps in the box, 108 snaps at slot cornerback, and 86 snaps at safety. So there you go. That, I believe, was just last season. Those are his snap counts defensively. So as you can see, he plays at tons of different positions. He's mainly a backup safety, and you got to think that the Vikings have had two pretty good safeties, you know, recently, so it's really going to be hard for him to get a starting role over there. The Lions now have 2 pretty solid safeties with Tracy Walker, Deron Harmon, and Will Harris, so this guy will probably be back up here as well. But as you can see for that, the versatility is there. He can play every position, move up in the box, and with him being 6'4", 215 pounds, you would think that, yeah, he could do that. But what I wanted to do is really compare his size to other players that have moved to that linebacker spot or played more in the box. Jeremy Chin was a very interesting player, prospect. He was 6'3", 221, so 6 more pounds, only 6 more pounds, and he's 1 inch shorter. You look at Miles Killebrew, because we have literally seen him go from safety to linebacker with the Lions. He is 6'2", 222. So they weigh, you know, about 6-7 pounds more, but they're shorter than him. So possibly Jayron Kearse could give us a little bit of help in the box there, not as a starter, but a guy that mixes in on passing downs, because not only can he play in the box, but he also can play that slot cornerback position, and he gives you some nice depth because he can do pretty much everything. By PFF's been in love with this guy because ever since, you know, he's coming to the league, his grade has been better each year, and last season it was incredible. 2016, which was his rookie year, they gave him a 58.4 overall grade. 2017, they gave him a 65.7. 2018, a 67.4, and in 2019, an 89 overall grade. I just want to point those out because I know some people want to hear those. But let's also, you know, kind of go to this. Those were his defensive snaps, right? What about his special team snaps? Because everybody talks about, well, I talk about a lot, you know, these guys can help on special teams, but what are they really going to do on special teams? Well, here are his snap counts for the Minnesota Vikings. He had 78 snaps on kick coverage. He had 67 snaps on kick returns. He had 29 snaps on punt coverage, 52 snaps on punt returns, and 6 snaps on field goal attempts or extra points. So, yeah, I mean, he pretty much does it all, and he can do whatever you need to. Special teams are pretty high level when you're talking about defensively, and it's a solid level, right? He's gotten a little bit better, and he's been a guy that, you know, you could throw in if you need him to. He's just not a starter right now. But at Clemson, this guy was fun to watch, and I was watching his Clemson tape because there's not tons to see from him from Minnesota, but when you watch him in Clemson, didn't really give you the Isaiah Simmons vibes, kind of gave you a big, lanky safety that could just kind of fly around the field and make some big plays. His Clemson stats are pretty nice. In 2013, he had 41 total tackles with 4 interceptions as a freshman. 4 interceptions. Yeah. In 2014, he had 61 total tackles, 3 sacks, 2 interceptions, 5 passes defended. And in 2015, his final year at Clemson, 62 total tackles, 1 interception, and 6 passes defended. So the numbers are pretty good. Obviously, you know, some people thought he was going to be a way higher pick than 7th round. He ended up falling to the 7th round, and the Lions now have him on a 1-year prove-it deal, in my opinion. But I think this is a guy that helps out across the board, right? Because the Lions are a team right now with a lot of run-stopping linebackers, and a lot of people look at it and say, okay, what are we going to do on passing downs, though? You know what I mean? We just got Jamie Collins, but if he's blitzing, now we have like no passing coverage guys. So I think this is those times where you could see guys like Jayron Kearse, who has the size to match up against tight ends, right? He's not in a complete mismatch against those kind of players, and he can go in and play a coverage kind of linebacker for 1 down. So say it's 3rd and 5 or longer, you throw him in. Now you don't keep him in on 1st and 2nd down unless, you know, they have to go score right away. But passing downs you know they're going to pass, or you're very confident they will. This one you can throw him in at slot corner. You know, you go to the nickels, throw him in at slot. This one you can throw him into the box as a linebacker. He can do a lot of different things, and he's going to have the opportunity to do some interesting stuff with the Detroit Lions. Obviously, we didn't select Isaiah Simmons. We decided to go with a cornerback, which is okay. You know, I'm okay with that. But I think you have to look at a lot of these bigger safeties, right? We've brought in Bobby Price out of Norfolk State, who also is a very big safety. All of these guys, you know, all these guys have that big size that could potentially give us some time at that linebacker spot in passing down. So I think that's kind of what the Lions are going to. I know some people are like, what are they going to do on passing downs? I think they're going to use some of these safeties as kind of like linebackers when you know they're going to pass the football. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty interesting. He's a very interesting prospect. With Minnesota, doesn't have any like crazy stats. In 2019, he had 28 total tackles. He allowed 57.1% completion percentage on 21 targets and a 51.7 passer rating. And in 2018, he had 32 total tackles, 1 tackle for loss, where he had allowed 70.6 completion percentage on only 17 targets and an 80.5 passer rating. So yeah, I mean, there's just not a lot here, right? There's not a lot of tread in the NFL. So we don't really know what we're getting here. But if he does make the team, he could potentially be a backup safety. A guy that steps in that slot cornerback role at times. He could be a guy to help on special teams, which is kind of his calling card. It's going to be really interesting to see what we do with Jayron Kearse. This could be like a prove-it deal that actually ends up being really good for us. I'm excited to see what he does. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and I'm out.